Did the CIA bring cocaine to the USA? Snowfall is a popular television series that revolves around the emergence and impact of the crack cocaine epidemic in Los Angeles during the 1980s. While the show is a work of fiction, it draws inspiration from real-life events and sheds light on various socio-political issues of the time. One of the central storylines in Snowfall involves the clandestine involvement of the CIA in drug trafficking operations. The premise of the show suggests that the Central Intelligence Agency played a significant role in the introduction of cocaine into the United States. This theory, commonly referred to as the CIA and Contras connection, suggests that the CIA supported the Contras, a rebel group fighting against the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, by allowing drug traffickers to smuggle cocaine into the United States. The proceeds from the drug trade were then used to fund the Contras' activities. In Snowfall, the character Franklin Saint becomes entangled in the world of drug dealing and quickly rises through the ranks as he sees the immense profit potential. As the story progresses, Franklin becomes aware of the larger forces at play, including the involvement of the CIA in the drug trade. He begins to witness the devastating effects of crack cocaine on his community, and he grapples with his moral compass. The Dark Alliance by Gary Webb. Journalist Gary Webb wrote a series of articles titled Dark Alliance in 1996 for the San Jose Mercury News. The articles alleged the CIA's connection to drug trafficking during the 1980s. Webb claimed that the CIA had knowingly allowed drug smugglers, particularly associated with the Nicaraguan Contras, to operate freely in the United States. Webb's reporting suggested that profits from the drug trade were used to fund the Contras' activities. However, the validity of some of Webb's claims has been a subject of criticism and controversy. Senate Subcommittee Report. In 1989, the Senate Subcommittee on Terrorism, Narcotics, and International Operations, led by Senator John Kerry, investigated allegations of drug trafficking related to the Contras. The report acknowledged connections between drug traffickers and Contra organizations, but did not conclusively establish direct CIA involvement. However, it did criticize the CIA's insufficient oversight and failure to fully investigate allegations. In 1996, the U.S. House Intelligence Committee conducted hearings to examine the allegations of CIA involvement in drug trafficking. The hearings did not produce concrete evidence of the CIA's direct involvement, but revealed instances of the CIA's lack of knowledge and oversight regarding drug-related activities by individuals and groups linked to the Contras. In 1998, the CIA's Inspector General published a report in response to allegations of the agency's involvement in drug trafficking. The report concluded that while the CIA had relationships with individuals and groups involved in the drug trade, there was no evidence of a systemic or institutional connection between the CIA and drug trafficking operations. Throughout the series, Snowfall portrays Franklin's attempts to navigate this dangerous landscape while exposing the corruption and hypocrisy of both the government and law enforcement agencies. The show depicts how power dynamics, systemic racism, and the pursuit of geopolitical objectives can lead to dire consequences for ordinary people. While Snowfall is a fictionalized portrayal of events, it highlights a disturbing aspect of American history, the crack epidemic, and questions the potential role of government agencies in facilitating the spread of drugs. It prompts viewers to reflect on the complexities of societal issues, the impacts of historical events, and the role of individuals in challenging established systems. The allegations regarding the CIA's involvement in drug trafficking during the 1980s have been the subject of extensive investigations and debates. Several official inquiries, such as the Kerry Committee and the Iran-Contra affair investigations, have shed some light on the matter. However, conclusive evidence linking the CIA directly to the cocaine trade remains elusive. Snowfall, as a work of entertainment, uses this historical backdrop to create a compelling narrative and explore the larger themes of power, corruption, and the human cost of such actions. While the show's portrayal may not reflect an accurate representation of historical events, It serves as a reminder of the need to remain vigilant and critical of the institutions and systems that shape our society. Though the specific motivations and benefits are not definitively established, some theories have been put forth to explain how the CIA or the United States might have benefited from such an epidemic. One theory suggests that the CIA, in its support of the Contras in Nicaragua, turned a blind eye to drug trafficking activities. The proceeds from the drug trade, particularly cocaine, were then allegedly used to finance the Contras' efforts. By allowing drugs to flow into the United States and facilitating the distribution of crack cocaine in impoverished communities, it is suggested that the CIA indirectly gained a source of funding for its covert operations. Another theory proposes that the crack epidemic, intentionally or unintentionally, had the effect of destabilizing predominantly African American communities. By flooding these communities with crack cocaine, it is argued that social cohesion was eroded, and the focus and strength of community organizing and civil rights movements were undermined. This could have potentially weakened or diverted attention from activism, challenging systemic racism, or government policies. The crack epidemic led to a significant increase in drug-related crimes and violence. The theory suggests that the subsequent war on drugs provided an opportunity for the U.S. government to expand law enforcement efforts, increase funding for agencies like the DEA, and justify harsher sentencing laws. This expansion could be seen as a benefit for those seeking to reinforce control, increase surveillance, or target specific populations disproportionately affected by the crack epidemic. The Contras, supported by the U.S. government, were fighting against the leftist Sandinista government in Nicaragua during the 1980s. It is argued that the CIA's involvement in drug trafficking might have been driven by the desire to weaken the Sandinistas and promote U.S. interests in the region. The availability and distribution of crack cocaine in the United States could have been a means to destabilize the Sandinista regime indirectly.